set up a council meeting. Thanks very much for being here tonight.
As always, I would just like to advise that the meeting is being recorded in accordance with the city's recording of council meetings policy, which I'm sure you've all read, and being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the city recording and subsequently publishing their voices on the city's website. Like I said, it won't be your faces, just your voices. I'd like to acknowledge that we're here on Binjarab country and pay my respects to elders past and present. And I'd like to acknowledge that tonight we have two apologies, one from Councillor Ahmed Zalani, who's on a leave of absence, and from Councillor Cumberworth, who's advised late today that he's unwell. For the benefit of members of the public, I'd just like to point out that any decision tonight can be revoked in accordance with the Local Government Act, and therefore you shouldn't rely on any decision that's made tonight until you've received notification in writing. I'll open public question time now at 5:30, which is an opportunity for members of the public to ask a question to the meeting. For the members of MEHAG that are here today, and once again I thank you for your service and commitment to the community, the questions that you asked at the previous meeting, as always, are included within the agenda and within the minutes of the last meeting, and so you have those answers to those questions. Is there any questions that anyone would like to ask to the meeting today? There be none, I'll close public question time at 5:31. I'd like to advise that given that we have an online attendee this evening, that I'll be asking for an amendment to the standing orders. I'm not going to read it out, but the amendment is on the screen before you. Can I ask for a mover and a seconder? Yes, moved Councillor Schumacher, seconded Councillor Rogers. Is there anyone opposed to that? The motion's carried. There are no public statements this evening. Are there any leave of absence that anyone would like to request? Yes, Councillor Burns.
Yes, please, Chair. As you're aware, I'm now being endorsed as a candidate for the next state election in the Upper House and would like to apply for leave from January 27 to March 10.
Thank you. January 27 to March 10, the leave of absence request is being made. Is there anyone that wishes to move and second that motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. Seconded Councillor Pond. Is there anyone opposed to that? Of course not. Thank you, and we wish you all the best, Councillor. See you on the trail. We will now move to confirmation of minutes, as there's no petitions, presentations or deputations to this meeting. Could I ask for a mover and a seconder that the minutes of the 26th of November be confirmed? Councillor Wright, seconded Councillor Kearns. Is there anyone opposed to that? It's also carried. Councillors, we'll now come to the part of the meeting where we do some acknowledgements, and to begin with, I'd like to acknowledge the Deputy Mayor, who has recently been reappointed to the West Australian Local Government Advisory Board for a further 3 years, because the first 3 years weren't fun enough, and so she's decided to go and give it another go. Deputy Mayor, on behalf of us, we congratulate you on that appointment. It's obviously a very important group in terms of its role in advising the Minister for Local Government, and it's great that we have a City of Mandurah elected member on that board representing us again. Over the course of the month, there's been several activities that have taken place, and so to kick us off, I'll ask Councillor Burns to tell us a little bit about the Mandurah Sports Awards.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, fellow councillors and community members. I'd like to share a quick recap of the 10th anniversary Mandurah Sports Award held recently. It was a fantastic evening celebrating our local sporting community and marking an important milestone. One of the highlights was a Q&A panel featuring 4 past sportspersons of the year. Hearing their stories and experiences reminded us of the hard work and support that goes into achieving success. They also importantly reminded us never to lose sight of the need to continually enjoy what we do, to have fun. While we celebrated our athletes, the night also shone a spotlight on our volunteers, who are the backbone of our local sport. We recognised some incredible nominees for their efforts, and it was great to see the eventual winners celebrated for their dedication and commitment. The awards are a reminder that local sport is more than just about winning. It's about people, from athletes to coaches, volunteers, and everyone who helps behind the scenes. They make a big difference in our community. Congratulations to everyone involved in making the night a success, and here's to many more years of sporting achievements in Mandurah.
Thank you very much, Councillor Burns. And Councillor Smith, along with other councillors, attended the International Day of People with Disabilities.
Thank you, through the Chair. On the 3rd of December, I attended the International Day of People with Disabilities at the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre, a global event recognising the achievements and contributions of those in our community living with disability. This year's theme was confident, capable and creative. And I must admit, prior to this event, I'd had a bit of a rough morning, but I left that event with my cup full. It was just such a beautiful example of inclusivity, resilience, an example of our community coming together to celebrate and champion people with disability. There was a stunning art exhibition, there was a market hall full of small businesses selling their wares, run and led by people with disability, a standout performance by the Halls Head College Education Support Centre Choir. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house after that. A phenomenal short film screened by the Act One Theatre Group, and it's a definite must-watch if you get a chance. I was really proud to be part of this event, and I'd love to express my thanks to all of those involved in organising, and I'm definitely locking it in my diary for next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Councillor Kearns attended the annual Peel Silent March for Domestic Violence. Councillor Kearns.
Thank you, through the Chair. Earlier this month, we gathered for the 14th Peel Annual Silent March, a powerful event dedicated to honouring the victims and survivors and remembering those who have tragically lost their lives due to family and domestic violence. As we marched in silence, we came together to show our unwavering support to those affected by this crisis. This significant gathering was made possible through the dedication of Allenby, Ovis, City of Mandurah, Zonta, Soroptimist, PSI Audio and Peel Says No to Violence. I want to express my deepest gratitude to these organisations, our sponsors and the community groups that made this event a reality. Before the march, we heard from Nat, a survivor who courageously shared her story, reminding us of the strength within our own community. We also heard from Dr. Alison Evans from the Centre for Women's Safety and Wellbeing. A special thanks to our Mayor, Rhys Williams, for his steadfast support and commitment to this vital cause. Also to our Deputy Mayor Carolyn Knight, Councillor Jess Smith and the City staff who attended the march. I would like to take a moment to also acknowledge the male survivors of domestic violence who also attended the march, understanding that domestic violence is not limited to just women. I'm so grateful to live in this community with so many people who care about the wellbeing of others. I would like to personally thank those who work in the front line, like the staff at the Women's Refuge Ovis, walking alongside those who have been impacted by violence of any kind. Thank you for being there for those who need it most. Knowing that we've had 17 deaths this year due to domestic violence within Western Australia, and 2 of those deaths being local, it's really concerning. And I think that this march is a reminder that we all can play a part and our community supports those who don't feel like they have a voice. So yeah, it was a pretty moving event and I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunity to walk and just remember in silence of those people that we are no longer with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kearns. And finally, the Deputy Mayor, along with other councillors, attended the Alcoa Peel Volunteer of the Year Awards.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, on the 5th of December, the Alcoa Peel Volunteer Awards were held at the Offshore Fishing Club. Federal and state politicians, mayors from Murray, Waroona and, of course, Mandurah, along with a number of councillors, were present as we came together to recognise and acknowledge the amazing volunteers within our community. On the day, the Peel Volunteer of the Year was Alison Q from the Mandurah SES, the Peel Youth Volunteer of the Year, Corey Wasnercroft, also from the Mandurah SES, and the Community Group of the Year was Ed Connect Australia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Councillors, as you know, this is also the time of the meeting where we get to acknowledge the local legend. And Councillor Kearns, I'll just remind you that your microphone's on and I no longer have the tools over here to turn it off. So I'll just... And this is something that I was really pleased to have had the opportunity to start when I became mayor, recognising one person in the community per month that has given outstanding service. And in the lead up to my final meeting, which I'll talk more about in a moment, I was really reflecting hard on those that have been the recipients of this recognition and thinking about the final meeting and thinking about the importance in our community, particularly our schools and our educators play. And so when I began to think about that, the obvious person for my final local legend award is someone who I don't have a lot to do with in a day-to-day sense, but someone who I admire deeply for her leadership, and that is Beth Aitken. Beth, as most of you are aware, was a principal herself at Pinjarra High School for many years, including winning Principal of the Year. But the reason that I want to acknowledge Beth tonight is not for that role, but for her role in being the chair of Coodnup College. She's been the driving force of the reforming to that school over a long period of time, the last 7 years in fact. And her leadership's been a key in driving transformational change, fostering growth, and creating an environment where truly students can thrive, and where students in an area where those students don't always have the self-belief and the inner tools and resilience to succeed in life, Coodnup has transformed the way they deliver their program to make sure that those kids are getting every opportunity to be successful. And I know that Beth's steadfast leadership in this has been really a big part of that. Beth, I want to thank you for your dedication to creating spaces where people in the school can feel safe, where expertise is expected, fostered and supported by administration staff, by teachers and by students. I think the high expectations that you have in your role as a leader of that school and the board that you've built of passionate experts who are committed to this school is making the world of difference to those students. And so on behalf of this council, for your work in that role and of course your many years of public service supporting education in Western Australia, I really want to say a big thank you to you. You are our December local legend and we are very grateful to you for your commitment to our community. We'd love it if you could pose for a quick photo.
Thank you.
And if you wish, we'd invite you to give a right one.
Have I got it out?
Yeah. Take your time.
This was a very big surprise for me. In fact, a shock, but I'm delighted to accept it. It's very, very special, isn't it, that your council does this each month for a volunteer or a person. In regard to my role at Coodnup, I guess at the moment that's the thing I'm most proud of, and it goes right back to the principal, Vicky McEwen, who was there 10 years ago, and she wanted to do something about the state of Coodnup. Everybody knew it as a very underperforming school, and they were in the paper a lot about not good things. And over time, that has really changed through a sequence of principles and a sequence of planning. So much so that my proudest moment is that we have a boy who is the poorest of poor, and please don't sort of talk about that out there, but he will get into uni of his own volition and all through the School of Isolated and Distance Education, which is the hardest way to do an 8R. So I'm just so pleased about that. And next year, I believe we have about 25 coming through into Year 11 for an 8R, whereas in most schools now, 8R is declining. So things are good at Coodnup. In regard to sailing, that's another proud thing of mine, but I only have an organisational role. I contact the disabled people's parents or carers and get them signed up to do their sail. And it was a delight for me to hear that there's so much happening with the council and people with disability. One of the reasons I'm still there, and I think it might be about 20 years, is it right, is that I love knowing the parents and carers, and I just feel like I can't quite go yet. But organisation is what I do. I cannot sail. I've never sat in a boat. Yeah. So just thank you very much. Proud to be here and delighted with this award.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm very, 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 very grateful to you for your commitment. Councillors, before we wrap up this part of the meeting, I'd like to take the opportunity, if you'll allow me, to make a few comments. This is my last council meeting, as you're aware. I don't finish in the role as mayor until Australia Day, and deliberately, because as you are all aware, the opportunity to recognise new citizens is a very special moment, and so I've taken the decision to leave on that day, but this is my final council meeting. The past 7 years serving this community has been the honour of my life. In 2009, I was elected to these chambers, not these ones, but those ones over there, as a 21-year-old. Councillor Shoemaker and I took the oath on the same night. and the Deputy Mayor joined us 2 years later in 2011. We were very fortunate then to serve under the Mayor of the day, Paddy Creevy, at a time where Mandurah was growing rapidly, and as was the case then, still today, I'm the beneficiary of her wise counsel and friendship, and that's something that I'm grateful for. It's a strange thing to reflect on this passage of time, Dave. On one hand, it feels like it was a lifetime ago, and on the other hand, it feels like it was just yesterday that we took our oath to serve the community. I'm finding it difficult, which is why I'm reading it out, to properly convey how grateful I feel for the opportunity to serve this community that I love in this role. Sometimes people are fortunate enough to find their passion early, and I'm fortunate to be one of those people. I found my passion, though, not in an occupation as such, but in the community that I grew up in a community that has given me so much over the course of my life, and it's been a privilege beyond measure to serve the community as Mayor. I'm not really into the top 10 things I'm proud of kind of speeches, just to say that it's been an honour to lead a city and a community that has so much going for it, which is so special today and yet has so much unmet potential. I'm grateful for all the people, the business owners, the community members, the volunteers and the residents who with grace and humility are so willing to serve our community every day. Thank you. As I've said before, and I know you know this already, but for the record, strong local government is critical to the success of communities that they represent. What we do or what we don't do matters. I've tried to remember every day that we are absolutely in a competitive business. Most people decide where they live and where they invest, where they set up their companies, where they raise their families with a whole bunch of factors in mind. But usually at the very heart of it, it's about how a place feels, and by extension, how that place makes them feel about themselves. Most importantly for most people is the answer to the question, will this place mean more opportunity and a sense of fulfilment for myself and my family? And therefore, as local governments, having a vision bigger than today and being focused on driving that vision every day to ensure we are a community that creates opportunity is fundamental. In short, being ambitious for our community and having the governance and the strategic capacity to deliver that ambition is the business of local government in my view. Strong local government isn't the only reason, but it is part of the reason why this community has been and continues to be such a great place to live. We sit here as a part of an enduring list of people who have served in these roles for a long period of time. We've been so well served by our leaders of the past, and I have every confidence in you as the leaders of the future as we head into a new era of this local government. Along with being a competitive business, it's also a business of partnership. We are served in this community by brilliant elected representatives, and I want to thank Andrew Hastie, David Templeman, Lisa Monday, and before her, Zach Kirkup, who I've served alongside in state and federal roles. I thank them for their partnership, their friendship, and their dedication to Mandurah. I want to thank you, the Council, for the privilege of serving alongside you. I'm grateful for the way that you conduct your roles with passion and professionalism, going above and beyond to represent our community. I admire you all. Even if we don't agree all the time, I'm impressed every day by you. I'm impressed by your commitment, your expertise, and your leadership. And I also acknowledge those who I've served alongside in this chamber who are not here tonight, and thank them for their service too. Of course, I want to thank our staff every day. I've been grateful for your support, your kindness, your hard work, and your dedication to your roles. As Mayor, you get a unique, upfront, and very close view of how capable our people are. And whether that be our outside workforce, those in our outposts, libraries and Mark, etc., and those here at the admin building. Working with you all, being part of your team, has been a major part of why I've loved coming to work every day. And I thank you for that. And particularly, I want to thank OMAC. Sorry to the gallery who came here for a council meeting and they're getting a blubber show. Jesus. All right. I particularly want to thank OMAC, the Office of the Mayor and Councillors. I would have been absolutely lost without you, literally. A special thanks to Lynette and my previous executive assistants, Taylor and Sarah. Quite frankly, I don't know how you put up with me, but thank you. And of course, to my partner in crime for the majority of my time as Mayor, Rachel Edwards, I will never ever be able to thank you enough. To our executive team, you are the best in the business, second to none. Thank you for your immense capacity and your deep, deep commitment to your roles. I'm so proud of you, and I'm grateful to you. Thanks too for tolerating my very occasional, hardly ever, mostly harmless and extremely rare interfering. I'm grateful for that too. Casey, it's difficult to know what to say. Thank you. I'm not listing proud moments as promised, but you should know that one of my very proudest days in office was the day that we appointed you as our CEO. It's a decision that we've benefited from it every single day since then, and I'm so grateful to you for your partnership. Finally, two women who, without this whole thing, would have been literally impossible. To the Deputy Mayor, for the entire time that I've been in office, I've been the beneficiary of your support, your friendship, your sacrifice, and your service. No one will ever appreciate how hard your job is. No one will ever appreciate the difference that you've made to this community and this council in your years, because you do it in your humble and supportive way, and particularly in your time as Deputy. I'll be forever grateful for the partnership, and I'm so proud and excited to see you stepping into the role as Mayor. I wish you every success. And today, there was a photo shoot preempting the new Mayor's service, and I got to see her wearing the chains, and that was pretty cool. And of course, in finishing up, I want to thank, the final person I want to thank is in the gallery tonight, and we don't do big, soppy public speeches for each other, because that's way too cringy. But Skip, thanks for everything. This has been a partnership since the... Sorry, Jesus. 1 second.
I'm great.
This has been a partnership since the start. Thanks for everything. And I've been so grateful for your role in this partnership, mostly unseen, and it's made all the difference, and I love you. In finishing up, I want you to know that I'll be cheering you on every single day. I have so much faith in you. I'm proud of you, I'm grateful to have served alongside you, and I'll always be here for any of you whenever you need it. And that is enough. Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to reply. Good evening, everyone. Look, tonight we gather not only to conduct the business of council, but also to reflect and celebrate on the remarkable leadership of our Mayor, Rhys Williams, as he prepares to close this important chapter of his life. Rhys, on behalf of the council, the staff and the community of Mandurah, I extend our heartfelt thanks for your outstanding commitment to this city over the last 7 years. You have led a compassionate, ambitious and collaborative council, always keeping our community's needs at the forefront. Mandurah has flourished under your leadership, and we are all much better for it. Your journey has been nothing short of inspiring. From becoming Mandurah's youngest ever councillor in 2009 to taking the role of Mayor in 2017, you've embodied dedication and vision. As your Deputy Mayor, I am grateful for the partnership we have shared. Together we have navigated challenges, embraced opportunities and worked to create a legacy of positive change. Over the past 7 years, you've presided over 81 council meetings, missing just 4. Sworn in thousands of new citizens, hosted countless civic events and attended an extraordinary number of community events. You've been a full-time, fully committed and incredibly accessible Mayor, always ready to listen and take action. Thank you to your wonderful wife, Skipper, who's been your steadfast support through this journey. Her presence has been grounding and invaluable, not just to you, but to all of us who know her. Under your leadership, Mandurah has truly transformed. From the redevelopment of our foreshores, which has created iconic spaces for residents and visitors while boosting our economy, to revitalising our tourism sector through the reconstruction of our tourism arm, Visit Mandurah, your impact has been immense. Our recognition as WA's top tourism town in 2022 and 2023 and as one of Australia's top destinations speaks volumes about the success of your vision. You spearheaded the incredible Giants of Mandurah project, worked tirelessly to secure the Common Ground facility and championed Mandurah's largest ever community consultation, delivering a 20-year vision shaped by the voices of so many of our citizens. You've tackled challenges like community safety and homelessness with determination, advocacy and collaboration. You've also been a steadfast force during turbulent times, none more so than during the COVID pandemic. Your compassionate authority, clear communication and collaborative approach helped guide our community through uncertainty. Decisions like cancelling Crabfest just a day before it was due to begin were handled with integrity and care. Beyond Mandurah, you've represented us with distinction on boards and committees, and your contribution to local government have been recognised with the Troy Pickard Young Achievers Award. You've not only raised the profile of Mandurah, but also the value of local government involvement. Your passion for youth development is especially commendable, as it's your support for the next generation of leaders through initiatives like the Youth Advisory Group. You've always led with fairness, courage and unwavering focus on what's the best for Mandurah. Every decision you've made, even the tough ones, have been guided by a deep sense of responsibility to our community. Reece, your leadership has left an indelible mark on Mandurah. This city is stronger, more vibrant and more united because of you. For that, you can be immensely proud, and we are so deeply grateful. So on behalf of council, staff and our community, thank you for your service, your vision and your heart. We wish you all the very best for the future and look forward to seeing where your passion and energy take you next. Thank you.
Okay, that is enough about us. I'm very sorry to you all. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. That was okay. Any declarations of interest to the Deputy to the CEO?
Through you, Mayor, there is one declaration of interest, an impartiality interest on report number 1. And this interest is from Director of Place and Community, Jude Thomas. And it's an impartiality interest because she's appointed as the individual member of the State Government's Housing First Homelessness Advisory Group.
Thank you very much. As our local legend and supporters leave the room, thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest? There be none. We'll move to questions from elected members. Notice has been given by Councillor Smith of questions that she would like to put to the meeting. Those questions we have received, you can either read them out or we'll take them as read and have the CEO respond. I'll refer the questions to the Director of Place and Community of Built and Natural Environment.
Thank you very much. Through the Mayor, in response to question 1, public toilets are provided within the reserve at Falcon Pavilion, and these are and should be accessible between 6:30 and 9 p.m. each day. There are presently no plans to construct any additional public toilet facilities on that reserve. In relation to question 2, full repairs to the skate bowl, including the replacement of the floor and drain, are scheduled to be completed in early February 2025. The City has, however, carried out temporary works to ensure that the skate park remains open, pending these specialist contractor repair works in February. With respect to question 3, there are presently 2 CCTV cameras located at the skate park, and City officers are presently reviewing the locations and effectiveness of these cameras, particularly given recent events. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any subsequent questions, Councillor Smith? Any questions without notice to the meeting? Councillor Burns?
Thank you, Chair. Can the relevant staff member please provide an update on the status of the permanent sand bypassing project for both the Dawesville Cut and Halls Head locations?
Thank you. I'll direct the question to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, as outlined during the recent community information session held on permanent sand bypassing on the 19th of September, following the completion of the preliminary investigation that was completed in early 2024, the next steps are further technical studies to be undertaken in partnership with the Department of Transport, including a coastal process study, a geotechnical study, and also a power supply investigation. In the meantime, the City will also continue to advocate to the state and federal government for the funding needed to deliver that project, including the permanent sand bypassing at both of those locations.
Thank you. Are there any other questions to the meeting? There be none, nor any business left over from the previous meeting. We'll move to reports now. There are 2 confidential reports from the Audit and Risk Committee. Would anyone like to have either of those reports withdrawn for discussion during the confidential part of the meeting? There be none then, we'll move now to the CEO reports. Just a reminder to you all that when voting, elected members will be asked to raise their hand. I'll then ask the online elected member to advise whether he is voting for or against. The first item of business is the Mandurah Shared Approach to End Homelessness Action Plan. Is there a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation? Moved the Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Kearns. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, having a safe, affordable house is a basic human right, and I'm very proud to be part of a local government that is committed to play a part in ending homelessness. Homelessness is a collaborative and shared responsibility, and the City has worked with the Housing First Homelessness Advisory Group, key stakeholders, service providers, and those with lived experience. 5 key outcome domains, each with specific goals, guide this action plan: empower, collaborate, respond, support and prevent. Together we can all help overcome and address homelessness, and I congratulate staff on this action plan and encourage councillors to support the plan.
Thank you, Councillor Kearns. I'll just come back to
Thank you, through the chair. As someone who works and volunteers in this space, I firstly just want to say thank you so much to the officers. I know the lengths that your staff went to ensure that we had people give feedback, and without that feedback, I don't think we could have had an action plan that's actually relevant to our community. So thank you so much for going to those lengths. I fully support this recommendation. I think as a community, echoing what Deputy Mayor has said, you know, we have families that are living in cars to no fault of their own at the moment because we don't have housing. So being a strong advocate in this space is really important, and also ensuring that people are given the dignity and respect that they deserve as humans is also really important. So I just want to say a sincere thank you to everybody that's been involved, the organisations, the stakeholders, and especially I think it's amazing that we as a government are working with our state government and our community as a local government, and we're all trying to work together and not point fingers or blame at anybody, but go, what can we do as a community to make this a better situation, which ideally would be more homes, but at the moment this is a great start. So thank you so much, and yeah, fully support it.
Thank you, Councillor Kearns. Is there any questions? Anyone wishing to speak against the motion? There be none, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright, in favour or opposed?
In favour.
The motion is carried unanimously. Councillors, forgive me, but 7 years of chairing 80-something council meetings and I still can't get the agenda right. So I'm just going to go back now and ask for a mover and a seconder that the finance report at the Audit and Risk Committee that's not a confidential item be carried en bloc. Councillor Shoemaker, Councillor Smith, anyone opposed? That's unanimous. Councillor Wright? That's unanimous, thank you. The next item of business is the encroachments report, and I'll ask for a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation. Councillor Pond, seconded Councillor Kearns. Councillor Pond.
The proposed motion really taking care of some issues that should have been dealt with many years ago. And it is unfortunate, perhaps, that the encroachments on the reserve occurred in the first place, but this is a reasonable way to tidy up the mess at this point in time and carry it forward. So I would endorse it.
Thank you for that. Councillor Kearns.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Anyone wishing to speak against the motion? There be none, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
The motion is carried unanimously. The next item is the Transform Mandurah Framework. I'll move the motion. Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor. And councillors, I spoke a little while ago, if you could kind of hear me through a bumbling mess, about the importance of having ambition. And the city for a long time now has been undertaking the work of the Transform Mandurah initiative to capture and harness that ambition and those opportunities, particularly to ensure that our economy is more diverse locally and that we've got greater opportunities for people who have moved here because of the great lifestyle, but who are still of a working age, to be able to pursue meaningful occupations, to create meaningful businesses, and to ultimately contribute in a meaningful way to our local community. The work that's been done in Transform Mandurah over a long period of time, from the structuring of a Transform Mandurah team after Mandurah Matters to the creation of the Deloitte Mandurah Matters Economic Opportunities report, to the quick wins that have been made in engaging to support the growth of human capital by partnering with schools and supporting local employment opportunities, through to now a framework that embeds this goal that we have of creating these opportunities for those that otherwise might not have had them into our strategic framework. That is what this report is about. It makes it enduring. It ensures that it remains a priority for the 20 to 30 years that it's going to take to be able to bring the level of employment that Mandurah needs to be able to offer that level of self-sufficiency that we need in our city for those that are living here. We should always remember that 50% of the people that are working that live in Mandurah are working in Mandurah. And sometimes that's a really good thing. But in the case of our city, where we've grown from 30,000 people in 1997 to today 100,000 people, the primary industries that those people who are working here are undertaking are hospitality, tourism, retail, building and construction. The industries that are the most volatile to economic shock, the industries that create the most issues for people in an economic downturn. And so, to diversify and ensure that level of resilience in our economy is to provide opportunities for people who are in that vulnerable space. To the 1 in 5 people that live in the suburb of Mandurah, the central suburb of Mandurah, who, unlike the greater Australia and West Australia statistics, where 4.6% of people rely on some sort of social payment, in that central suburb of Mandurah and some of our eastern suburbs, that number is 1 in 5, 20% of the population. So this framework is an enduring commitment to making sure that in creating those ambitious pathways, we can support those that maybe for multi-generations haven't had the benefit of employment. And so I hope that this council can endorse this framework tonight and can continue its commitment to this enduring piece of work, because whilst we aren't going to be able to solve it, as the facilitators of this work, as the people who have kicked it off and got it started, geez, we can make a big difference over the period that this framework should be in existence for. And so with that, I put it to you and I ask that you support it. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I'm very comfortable in seconding this recommendation, and I'm probably going to say some of the same things as you, but I think it's really important to emphasise this. This framework details the process that the City will use to identify and assess these new projects or initiatives that target economic, social and environmental issues that will foster and sustain our thriving community. Projects identified will be included in our Transform Mandurah portfolio, the City's annual budget and the corporate business plan. This measured strategic approach to managing growth ensures that projects and initiatives are targeted in the right areas and to ensure that we realise the community's vision of Mandurah, a city that is thriving and connected to the people and nature. 10 projects have been identified, and these projects aim to 1, reduce structural unemployment in Mandurah, to increase the labour market participation, to improve the early childhood development and education outcomes, to increase participation in secondary school pathways leading to university studies and other post-secondary education, to improve social access to essential health and social support services, and 6, to preserve the natural environment. So in closing, I'd like to thank officers for this important piece of strategic work and encourage councillors to support the recommendation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Are there any questions? Is there anyone wishing to speak against the motion? There be no one wishing to speak against. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
Those opposed? The motion's carried unanimously. The next item is the annual report and the annual electors meeting date. And I'll ask for a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation. Councillor Rogers moved. Councillor Shoemaker second.
Thank you, Mayor. I love annual reports. They are a period, I think, where, we move through the hustle and bustle of one monthly meeting committee meeting and internal working groups to another from month to month, and it is an important time to stop and reflect on the good work that has occurred within the organisation across a period of 12 months. Particularly love that our annual report is branded with our new brand, with the branding piece that's been in place for quite some time, which looks great. But it provides, I think, a key document to public for the purposes of accountability. It's got a section in relation to council and its performance, so that's almost our grade sheet that we bring back to the electors in terms of our deliberations in council and attendance at council, and also provides, I think importantly, a good snapshot of the year in review and the multiple awards that the city has picked up over the course of the 12 months. There's another important aspect in here, which is the service performance across the organisation. We are constantly, as elected members, bombarded with questions around service performance, and I think it's really great to reflect actually the levels of service and what this local government does for community back to our ratepayers and voters. There's a section on statutory performance around access and inclusion, asset management information, freedom of information requests. But I think importantly out of that is the actual financial performance of the organisation, and another great audit for the organisation this year. And of course, a good audit and a good financial outcome is underpinned by the work that people don't see, which is our long-term financial plan, which the elected members and the senior leadership or the executive leadership team work tirelessly together month on month to refine and workshop and tinker with to shape the finances of the organisation across a period of 10 years. It's shaped by that particular working group, like I said, which has the right combination of elected members and staff, and of course it's overseen by the always important Audit and Risk Committee, which considers the finances before they come to council. So a great read, really interesting read, which really shows you the depth and breadth of local government and the performance in key strategic areas of economy, social, health and environment, and underpinned by organisational excellence, which is going to change with the changes to our strategic plan. And then finally, the reporting back part, which is our annual electors meeting. I look forward to all of the questions that we will receive that have absolutely nothing to do with this document.
Thank you. And from one councillor that lays awake at night time reading anyone's annual reports to one that's read more City of Mandurah annual reports than most of us have had hot dinners. Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you. How lucky am I? And it was no different reading this one. It was, as Councillor Rogers said, a very, very comprehensive report on the goings-on, basically, of the city for the last 12 months. I would implore people in the community to take the opportunity and a few hours to read through this document to understand the going-on, the actual going-ons, get the words right, what actually the City of Mandurah and Council does and the outcomes that are achieved. There are those in the community that, how do I put this politely, do complain for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, I don't know, but they do not have a full understanding of the complexities of the running of our community, the expenditure within our community, what things cost. And I would implore people in our community to take the opportunity to have a read. And believe me, it's a difficult read. It's not easy. After 16 years, it's still not easy. But it is important that they do this to get a true understanding of what the City of Mandurah is about and what the City of Mandurah does for this community as a whole. Do we get it right all the time? No, not all the time. but you need to have a look at the successes and the outcomes from 12 months of very hard work by the city and city officers, the CEO, and by councillors. So again, I would implore people, invite people in the community to take the time to go through the annual report and understand more about the job that we have been vested to do.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shoemaker. Are there any questions? Guest questions, Councillor Wilkins?
Given Councillor Shoemaker's pleading with the public to read this document, can we just be reminded where the public can actually access this and if hard copies will be available at our libraries?
Thank you. I'll refer the question to the Director of Business Services.
Thank you, through the Chair. Copies of the annual report will be made available on our website and in our libraries, and copies will be available in the admin centre as well for the community.
And rumour is that the next community meeting in the park, Councillor Shoemaker will be there signing copies if anyone is interested in getting a signed version. Any other questions? There being none, is there anyone wishing to speak against? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
That's unanimous, and I look forward to seeing you all at the annual electors meeting. Yeah, we're coming as a resident. The next item is the Peel Alliance constitution changes. Is there a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Rogers and Councillor Pond.
Got to remember not to touch the microphone now. Yes, happy to approve the amendments to the Peel Regional Leaders Forum. The City of Mandurah, along with several other local governments within the Peel region, made investment into this organisation, which is now taking a decreased role in terms of staffing moving forwards, which is subsequently resulting in some housekeeping and changes to the constitution. And as a contributor towards the organisation, I'm happy to approve the amendments to that document.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pond.
Only to add that it seems to be a maturing of the organisation as it's gone, seen its role, it's paring back again. It all seems like a rational, sensible move to be supported.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Anyone wishing to speak against? There be none, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
That's carried unanimously. We'll now move to the next item, which is the appointment of elected members. Could I ask for a mover and a seconder? Councillor Knight, are you moving option 1 or option 2?
I'm moving option 2.
And the seconder, Councillor Wilkins, you are in agreement with that? Before moving into the motion then, I'll call for nominations. Is there anyone that would like to put forward their hand in the case that the Deputy Mayor, who will be the Mayor, is unable to fulfil the duties of office for whatever reason, these people will be called upon to act in that role. Can those that wish to do so please indicate now so we can put you on the list? Councillor Rogers, Councillor Wilkins, Councillor Kearns, Councillor Burns, Councillor Smith, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Pond, and
Councillor Cumberworth has indicated that he would like to be included, and also Councillor Zolani.
Right.
And
Councillor Wright?
I would like to be included.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. And Councillor Shoemaker? No.
I think that fulfills.
I think maybe it does. We'll be very well aided in the instance that the Deputy Mayor is not able to. Can I just pause for a moment while the Minute Officer is writing that long list? And I will ask the CEO, before asking the mover and seconder to speak, to give us a brief overview of the mechanism in which the person, these individuals will be appointed, should they be required to be.
Through you, Mayor, what the process will be from here is that the Deputy Mayor and I will determine the length of time which will be distributed evenly amongst all of the elected members that have put their hands up. And we will advise the period. It will be a randomly selected time period, so we will advise all elected members of that once it's been drawn.
Okay. And CEO, there are no other vacancies as per recommendation option 2. There are no other vacancies that we need to fill for any of the other positions. There being none, Deputy Mayor, wish to speak to the item.
Thank you. Look, I think it's a pretty comprehensive report. I like the idea of providing greater experience to elected members, so I'm very happy to go with that option, or option B rather than option 2.
Thank you. And Councillor Wilkins, seconder.
Probably speak on behalf of everyone that put their hand up. We appreciate the opportunity to gain some experience, and Deputy Mayor, wish you all the luck with the new role.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wilkins. Is there anyone wishing to speak against the motion? That's difficult because you've all put your hand up for it, except for Dave and I. Anyone wishing to ask any questions? There be none. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
No, so that's carried unanimously. We'll now move to the finance report, and before asking for a mover and a seconder, I'll invite the Manager for Finance. I'm looking forward to this, Jared, our final time together, in hearing the Manager for Finance's presentation.
Right, thank you through the Chair. The finance report for November 2024. As always, we'll start by looking at the graphs for the operating spend and income. Operating income is sitting pretty much right on budget. Operating expenditure just sitting slightly below budget, so where we like to see them. Moving on to the capital graphs, we are seeing a bit of an uptick in November on both capital income and capital expenditure. We do expect capital expenditure to have a bit more of an uptick towards the end of the year to hopefully reach budget. A quick look at interest trends. Interest saved through the city's loan offset facility totals to $95,240 at the end of November, and term deposit interest rates are still attracting up to 5.2%. That hasn't really shifted in about 6 to 8 months. A quick look at our rates receivable. November last year, we were sitting at 66.4% collected. November 24, we are at 64.4% collected. That is due to the later dates in this year. We still have 2 more instalments to go, so we should see that trend down as well. For the properties that are greater than 10,000 and 3 to 10,000, we are seeing much the same trend as last year, and we do hope to get those down to where we were last year by the end of the year. I will take the budget variations as read in the report. And we do have 2 tenders for the month of November. And as always, I'd like to state that the city's procurement team observed the tender evaluation process and is satisfied that the probity and procedural aspects relating to the evaluation were compliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Manager for Finance. Are there any questions? There being none, a mover and a seconder. Councillor Rogers is eager as the mover, and a seconder for that, Councillor Pond. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you. Yeah, you should have said in my previous spiel about the annual report that this is also a key component of ensuring a good financial outcome for the city is our monthly financial reports. So appreciate the staff for the work in this as always. Just on the report itself, probably is worth repeating that in relation to the key capital projects for 24-25, one of those important ones is the Eastern Foreshore North and Central. A key risk to the organisation, given that our largest event takes place not long after that. And as a result, a question was asked at the Audit and Risk Committee as to whether there were any major risks in the delivery of that project, and there have been reported that there are none, which is good in relation to that project. All is working well. 2 budget variances in relation to some rectification and OSH work, which is all fine, and the use of the public jetty is an item that's being considered in the recommendation. Happy to approve it, noting that it's only on a trial basis at this point, so should there be any concerns from public or should it not work in relation to that area, Council will be able to consider the results of that trial after the 6 months and make any rectification or amendments as is needed to that the commercial use of that jetty into the future, but supportive of the trial moving forward. Other than that, all of the reports are looking good, and just noting that the rates receivable is very much consistent with the trend we seem to see every year. It's amazing. And the current budgeted, estimated surplus, which is looking appropriate and healthy in relation to the report for November 2024. So happy to endorse.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Pond.
As per usual, after Councillor Rogers goes through the finance report, there's not a lot to say, but I will say some things. One, after some 30 years post-Dawesville construction, it will be excellent in January to see the beginning of real works on the southeast Dawesville Channel site in Dawesville, obviously. It's long overdue from many levels of government, so it's good to see that going ahead. I agree with the trial basis on the commercial jetty. It's something that we need to be looking at, and follows up very well from our earlier report, where we're putting $154,000 towards a coastal engineer to be looking at commercial jetties amongst other things around the trap. So that's all very good. It's only a small amount of money, but I really liked the $5,000 going for the feasibility study for the construction and demolition waste. It is something that can create an awful lot of waste product that can go into landfill or otherwise, and it will be good to see if we can have something more constructive done with those materials. So on that basis, I endorse.
Thank you, Councillor Pond. Is there anyone wishing to speak against the motion? Any questions? There be none. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
The motion's carried. The final item this evening is the council policies. Is there a mover and a seconder for the recommendation on the screen before you? Councillor Rogers, seconded. Councillor Smith. Councillor Rogers.
Thanks. Some procedural amendments to both the complaints policy and the recording of council meeting council policy, which is being revoked and replaced with the council meeting live streaming, recording and electronic attendance council policy. What a great name. Which will govern the conduct of recordings with our new software or hardware, actually, that we have in place that is capturing us all now. So happy to endorse both of these policy approvals.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers, for covering everything. Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone wishing to speak against? There be none. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
The motion's carried unanimously. Councillors, I just need to go back before closing off business. I got a mover and a seconder for the confidential items from the Audit and Risk Committee, but I now just want to have a mover and a seconder that the first report from the Audit and Risk meeting be received by Council. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Moved the Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Burns. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak? Councillor Burns? Any questions? Any objections? I will put the motion then. Those in favour? Councillor Wright?
In favour.
The motion's carried unanimously. Councillor Wright's just got a recording, I'm sure of it. Councillors, that is the end of the business of the meeting, the final meeting for 2024. Can I wish you and your family, friends, etc., a wonderful, safe Christmas, a very successful 2025, and I'll close the meeting at 6:29.